There is a specific kind of quiet you only find deep off-grid. No cell service, no highway hum at all, just your campsite, a fire, and an absolutely clear view of the Milky Way. But that serene environment comes with a strict entry fee. The deep desert does not care if you are an experienced driver on asphalt, and it does not forgive logistical blind spots. Getting a 3-ton vehicle stuck up to its axles in soft sand is an emergency. If you cannot self-recover, you face an agonizing, dangerous wait and a search and rescue operation costing thousands of dollars. Surviving and enjoying the trip has nothing to do with how your vehicle looks on Instagram. It depends entirely on strict mechanical preparation and total self-reliance. If you are planning your first trip, the off-road industry aggressively markets the exact opposite idea. They say you need massive, expensive modifications to survive. Giant suspension lift kits, huge mud tires, heavy steel bumpers, and multiple LED light bars. So, if you are looking at a stock vehicle and a tight budget, what do you actually need to buy to make your first desert run safe? Evaluate gear through a simple decision tree. To enter the desert safely, pass 2 strict checks. Is your car mechanically ready, and is your gear complete? Fail either, and your weekend vacation immediately becomes a rescue hazard. Because cargo space and payload capacity are incredibly limited, every single pound of gear you pack must earn its spot. We are looking for the highest possible return on investment for your safety and comfort. The baseline requirement starts before you ever buy a piece of gear. You have to evaluate your vehicle's drivetrain. If you drive a front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive car, you cannot go into deep sand. The physics make it impossible. As soon as you try to climb a dune, the vehicle's weight shifts to the rear. The front tires lose their grip, spin wildly, and instantly dig the car down to its frame. The real confusion for beginners, however, lies in the difference between all-wheel drive crossovers and true four-wheel drive vehicles. This chart breaks down the mechanical power transfer of different drivetrains. If we look at the top half, we see exactly why these two systems behave differently off-road. All-wheel drive systems adaptively send power to slipping wheels. This is fantastic for wet asphalt, but in deep sand, all four wheels slip. The system panics and overheats, leaving you stranded. True four-wheel drive solves this. It mechanically locks the front and rear axles together, forcing an exact 50-50 power split. The wheels violently push the sand backward to pull the rig forward. This is the critical difference between taking a standard crossover out to a dirt trail versus driving a dedicated rig into the dunes. A true 4WD vehicle will cost you more upfront and burn more gas on your commute. But that mechanical lock is the only viable foundation for a deep desert trip. Once you have the right vehicle, your highest return on investment comes from tire pressure management. Highway tires slice straight down into soft sand. Dropping your pressure down to 10 or 15 psi forces the tire to bulge outward. This drastically increases the surface area touching the ground, allowing the heavy truck to float on top of the sand rather than sinking into it. To do this efficiently, you need a specialized vapid deflator tool, like this ARB unit. It removes the valve core safely so you can dump air in seconds, while the analog gauge lets you dial in the exact pressure for all 4 tires. The trade-off is that once you leave the dirt, driving on underinflated tires at highway speeds will cause a catastrophic blowout. That means buying a deflator forces you to also buy a heavy-duty, portable air compressor to reinflate before heading home. Even with perfect tire pressure, eventually you will get stuck. That brings us to your second mandatory investment, a sturdy shovel and a set of recovery boards. When you sink, you dig the sand out from in front of your tires and wedge these rigid plastic boards underneath. As you accelerate, the tire treads bite into the board's teeth, giving the vehicle an instant ramp of hard traction to launch itself out. They are incredibly effective, but they come with severe downsides. They take up massive cargo space, and using them means doing exhausting manual labor under a blistering sun. Before you start digging, remember one free adjustment. Turn off your electronic traction control. You actually want controlled wheel spin in the sand to maintain your momentum. Deflators, a compressor, and recovery boards are non-negotiable. They guarantee you have the capability to rescue yourself. Your vehicle can get you to the site, but you still have to establish a livable camp. Desert weather is highly unpredictable. Extreme high winds can suddenly sweep across the dunes with almost no warning. A massive, complex multi-room tent will turn into a giant sail and collapse. You are much better off investing in a compact, fast-pitch tent that you can stake down tightly in under 5 minutes. Then there is the logistical hurdle no one likes to talk about. The desert is wide open. There are no trees for privacy and no running water. You need a dedicated portable bathroom setup, a folding toilet chair, a tall privacy tent, and a pressurized water sprayer. The trade-off here is significant. It requires carrying gallons of extra heavy water and demands strict waste management to leave the environment clean. Finally, we have to talk about how all this heavy gear is packed. Every single item inside your cabin must be physically tied down and secured using heavy-duty straps or cargo nuts. Off-roading involves steep descents and violent bouncing. An unsecured cooler or a heavy toolbox will become a lethal, high-speed projectile inside the cabin if you hit a drop-off too hard. Efficient, practical camping gear paired with strict cargo discipline cuts down your packing time, lowers your center of gravity, and drastically reduces your risk of severe injury. Let's map all these choices out so you can build your actual shopping list. We can plot off-road gear on a matrix comparing the cost and effort against its actual impact on your survival in the desert. Up here in the high-impact zone, we have your true essentials: a 4WD rig, your deflator and compressor, recovery boards, a fast-pitch tent, and your water and sanitation setup. These keep you safe and self-reliant. Down in the low-impact zone are the marketing traps: giant lift kits, heavy aesthetic steel bumpers, and massive, complicated tents. They drain your wallet and eat your payload capacity without getting you out of a dangerous situation. If you are building a rig on a strict budget, ignore the visual aesthetics completely. Put every spare pound into high-quality tires, robust recovery boards, and extra drinking water. And if you own an all-wheel drive crossover, know your limits. Stick to hard-packed dirt roads and designated campsites. Do not attempt deep dune crossings, regardless of how good your camping gear is. Finally, the golden rule of off-roading applies to everyone. No matter how capable your vehicle is or how much gear you own, never enter the deep desert alone. Always travel with at least one other 4x4. A successful trip doesn't happen because you bought the toughest-looking truck. It happens when you treat your vehicle as a fully self-reliant survival ship. Prepare the mechanics, secure the logistics, and respect the sand.